Can the sting of betrayal ultimately lead to unexpected understanding, maybe even a stronger connection than before? It's a compelling thought.
It is, isn't it? Especially when we look at how people navigate really complex relationships, often under, well, extreme pressure.
And that's our focus today, digging into Sharon Kay Penman's Here Be Dragons.
Exactly. We're looking closely at excerpts filled with those shifting loyalties, those intricate human interactions.
And we're trying to highlight maybe some positive theories emerging from it all.
That's the idea, finding connection amidst the conflict. And actually, we found some insightful analysis from Mindful Moments.
That's the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They use AI for book analysis, right?
They do. It encourages reflection, critical thinking about narratives just like this one. It's quite helpful.
Okay, so let's jump in. Those initial conflicts, Llewelyn, for instance, he clearly felt slighted.
Definitely. His acceptance hinged on a marriage, a political alliance, not on who he was, his Welsh heritage.
You can almost feel that pull of homesickness, that resentment.
It really speaks to that deep need for recognition, doesn't it? To feel your intrinsic worth is secondary to some political deal. Well, that would be incredibly frustrating.
But what's fascinating, even with that tension, are these flashes of connection.
Right. Like that moment after a heated argument, Llewelyn tends to Rhea's wound with moss.
It's such a small thing, but it says so much.
Yeah.
Shows this capacity for empathy that cuts right through the conflict.
It does. It challenges a simple, adversarial view. Suggests that even when people are positioned as enemies, that basic human instinct for care can just surface.
It hints at something fundamental about us.
Our social nature, yeah. The ability to empathize even with people we might see as threats.
And it wasn't just a one-off, was it? Think about Llewelyn and Walter de Hodenham.
Ah, yes. A perfect example.
He had every reason, maybe, for revenge based on past grievances, but he chooses forgiveness.
Echoing that Welsh saying, "Oh, here little needler dim."
From an old debt, nothing is due.
Exactly. It's not just about ignoring a debt. It seems to reflect this cultural idea of moving forward, not getting trapped by old hatreds. It's a key part of forgiveness.
A conscious choice to break a cycle.
Yes. Disrupting that cycle of retribution. Prioritizing peace, maybe, over settling old scores, which in that kind of turbulent environment feels surprisingly mature.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Power dynamics, John's manipulations.
Oh, definitely. Making promises to his son, John Lackland.
But underneath it all, there seems to be this deep insecurity driving him.
I think so. That constant need to assert control, maybe it stems from a fear of losing it. His manipulations do suggest that underlying vulnerability.
Surrounded by powerful people, always needing to shore up his own authority.
And you see how that pursuit of power, maintaining it, profoundly shapes all his relationships.
And loyalty becomes incredibly complicated in that world.
Think of Will.
Right. Torn between his allegiance to King Richard and, well, his personal affection for John, even when John's making very questionable choices.
That internal struggle. What does it tell us about loyalty itself?
This is not simple.
Not at all. Will's dilemma just highlights that tension, doesn't it? When personal bonds clash head-on with political duties, it forces a really difficult calculation about where your true commitments lie.
Yet sometimes people act completely against expectations, like Joanna.
Her defense of Eleanor, yes, despite the huge political divide between them.
Why would she do that? What motivates that kind of empathy across such rigid lines?
It suggests an ability to see beyond the politics, perhaps, to connect on a human level. Maybe she recognized a shared experience, a vulnerability that just transcended the political game.
So moving towards connection amidst all this adversity, Llewelyn and Joanna's relationship is central.
It really is a powerful example. Starts as purely political, a strategic marriage.
But it evolves, doesn't it, into genuine affection, even intimacy.
Despite the cultural differences, the external pressures, everything working against it.
How does that happen? A relationship built on political need becoming so personal.
Well, their evolving connection shows how shared experiences, just being together through things, even if it starts out of necessity, it can foster real emotional bonds.
It challenges that idea that political marriages are always cold.
Exactly. That they're inherently devoid of personal feeling. It's clearly not always the case.
And those quiet moments between them, they speak volumes.
They really do. Llewelyn offering silent comfort when Joanna's distressed, or those shared looks of understanding when everything's chaotic around them.
Those moments of vulnerability, of mutual support, they seem crucial.
They're often the bedrock, aren't they, of any deepening emotional connection. They signal that willingness to just be present, to be supportive in tough times. That builds trust. It builds intimacy.
And we see forgiveness again as a recurring theme.
Yes, characters extending grace despite past conflicts, betrayals even.
Does the sheer volatility of their world make forgiveness almost pragmatic?
Yeah.
A necessary survival tool?
That's an interesting way to put it. In environments with so much conflict, forgiveness, while incredibly hard, might become essential for any kind of long-term relationship or stability.
Allows for healing. A way to move forward without being constantly dragged down by the past.
Precisely. It offers that possibility.
What about growth? Personal transformation. Joanna, for instance.
She definitely becomes more assertive, gains a much sharper understanding of the politics swirling around her.
She's not just a pawn.
Not at all. Her increasing agency shows real personal development, a refusal to just be passive. It highlights her resilience, her inner strength.
Yeah, and Llewelyn too. He reflects on his own past, his youthful impulsiveness, especially when dealing with his son Griffith.
That self-awareness, it suggests a capacity to learn, to grow over time.
How does that impact him, do you think, as a leader?
That self-reflection points to a maturing perspective, definitely. A willingness to learn from mistakes, which likely informs how he approaches leadership and probably his personal relationships too.
These themes are really compelling. Human connection, resilience.
Absolutely. And for listeners interested in exploring these ideas further, in literature or history, we do recommend checking out resources like Mindful Moments and, well, our own explorations here.
So as we wrap up, it's quite remarkable, isn't it? How even in a story packed with conflict, betrayal, power struggles like Here Be Dragons,
You find these compelling moments of empathy, of forgiveness.
and real potential for positive connection, for growth. These historical relationships in all their messiness, they remind us just how multifaceted human interaction is.
Indeed. They show our capacity for both causing harm and offering unexpected kindness, often tangled together in the same web of relationships.
It really makes you think, how do those complex dynamics, the betrayals, the surprising connections, how do they echo the challenges and maybe the opportunities for connection in our own lives today?
It's a thought worth holding on to, absolutely. Understanding these past dynamics can offer some valuable perspectives for navigating our relationships right now.
So if this conversation sparked your interest, please do subscribe. That way you'll stay informed about our future explorations.
And share this with others who might find it thought-provoking.
You can find a link to purchase Here Be Dragons in the show notes if you want to dive deeper into the source material itself.
And perhaps most importantly, keep thinking critically about the narratives that shape how you see the world and the people in it.